Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. I know we're going to have people trickling in as we go, but we're going to get started in the interest of time. Thank you for joining us in this afternoon, or if you're watching the recording, thank you so much. We're very excited today. I'm Lynn Carpenter from the Reading League New York, and we have an amazing group of people today to talk to you about supporting your developing reader at home and avoiding the summer slide. So first up is our advisory board Reading League New York member, Katie Pace-Miles. So Katie Pace-Miles is an associate professor and the director of the Advanced Certificates in Reading Science at Brooklyn College, City University of New York. Dr. Miles is the author of Reading Ready and the academic advisor for Reading Go. She is the co-author of Reading Ready for Whole Phonics and the forthcoming book, Making Words Stick, which we were going to, at Reading League New York, just to put a plug, Katie and Molly Ness are going to be speaking about their book at our July 1st Summer Symposium. Dr. Miles is the co-founder and principal investigator of CUNY Reading Corps, which improves pre-service teacher training and provides free high-dosage tutoring to over 2,300 historically underserved New York City students per year. Dr. Miles is also the founder and president of the Reading Institute, which brings free evidence-based tutoring programs to striving readers across the country and provides reading science-aligned professional development to teachers. So I'm now going to turn it over to Katie.
Thanks so much, Lynn. I appreciate that generous introduction. So we're here today to talk about how you can support your developing reader at home during the summer to avoid what we call summer slide. Let's start by defining summer slide. It refers to the learning loss students experience during the summer months. On average, students lose more than 1 month's worth of learning during the summer in each subject area. Also, on average, students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds fall 3 months behind during the summer. Some call this the faucet effect. During the school year, think of it as this faucet of resources available to children and their families. The flow of knowledge and resources is plentiful during the school year. However, when summer arrives, many students and families are in a drought of resources, especially low-income families who may not be able to afford enriching experiences and all of these enriching camps that are available for some children. Research shows that summer slide is preventable. That's the good news. Summer reading programs help students maintain and grow their literacy skills. These programs target areas where students are in need of support and prepare them for the upcoming school year. With this type of focused instruction, students can maintain their skills and return to school in the fall, ready to get going with grade level content. At the Reading Institute, our Reading Ready and Reading Go programs are used across the country as summer school literacy intervention programs. A big shout out to CUNY Reading Corps that does this an incredible way in the Summer Rising program with New York City Public Schools. We're here today to provide you with 2 supplemental resources that are attached to our Reading Ready program, and these resources are specifically for families. Before we get to the specific resources to help prevent summer slide, let's just spend a moment considering how children learn to read. From birth, children develop oral language by listening and speaking. In early childhood, children begin to learn the names, shapes, and sounds of letters as they continue to hear and grapple with, digest spoken language. Next, children learn that letters are connected to sounds, and they begin using this information to read and spell. Over time, children build the skills they need to read and write sentences and paragraphs. Today, we're excited to share with you 2 guides to help you support your child with letter knowledge and emergent reading and spelling skills. If your child is still working on identifying letter names, shapes, and their corresponding sounds, then we're pleased to give you a free copy of our letter knowledge guide. If your child knows all of their upper and lowercase letters and the sounds that the upper and lowercase letters make, then we recommend you dive into our Reading Ready Caregiver Guide, which we will also give you. I'm going to take a few minutes now and walk you through each one of these guides. Okay, and I know everyone is like, okay, just give us the guide. So here's thanks to the Reading League team, here's the bit.ly, the QR code that you can get a free copy of the guide. And I know nobody's listening to me right now because they're probably just downloading it. And this is great that you're downloading a copy, and you might want to listen to this part because at the end of the whole webinar, we are going to have a special opportunity for you to receive a free printed copy of the guide. So I've used these guides with my own children. I have two little kids at home. I like having the hard copy. I'm just old school like that. So stay on with us, and we'll get you those printed copies as well. All right, we're going to move on. Okay, the Letter Knowledge Guide. Here it is. It's meant for caregivers of young children, early childhood educators, and anyone who supports older striving readers. It's designed to help children who are learning their letter names, shapes, and sounds. And the guide includes a collection of 44 highly engaging games and activities. That's the essence of the book. Let's take a closer look at the games and activities that are included. They're organized into 5 sections. First, letter identification and formation activities, board games and puzzles, card games, movement games, sensory activities. Those are our groupings of the games, okay? We include a wide variety of games in each one of these categories to give caregivers options to pick whichever games will be most fun for their child. Okay, we've all worked in education. Some students gravitate to the more tactile ones, some gravitate more towards the kinesthetic ones. You choose. Each time you use the guide, you will start by making 2 choices. First, you will pick a new target letters, okay, the new target letter or letters, and a few review or familiar letters for your child. The target letters are those your child still needs to learn, okay? And the review letters are those are the letters that they already know. We don't have time to go through the introduction section of the guide today. I highly recommend that you take a moment to read through the intro if you're going to use the guide, as we offer several important considerations for how to determine which letters to introduce when. Once you pick your target and review letters, you will decide which activities to use. There are some considerations for picking activities. Keep in mind your child's interests and needs and select those that will be most engaging, like we just talked about. For example, if they like to move around a lot, choose a movement game. If they love drawing or arts and crafts, try the activities in the letter formation section. Another consideration is the skill that your child needs to work on. Do they need to work on upper and lowercase letter matching? Then pick an activity that works with that skill. Or if your child is ready for letter to sound matching, then choose an activity that targets that skill. Letter learning is more complicated than we all think of it, I think, as parents. There are icons on the top of each activity to show the skill it reinforces. For example, you'll see here that the letter maze activity specifically helps matching both upper and lowercase letters with, that's the arrow, their sounds. So you see the uppercase A, the lower with their sounds. In the appendix of the Letter Knowledge Guide, you'll find several tools and templates to use for many of the games and activities. 2 that we want to highlight are the letter picture cards on the left and the sound picture cards on the right. The letter picture cards on the left are mnemonic letters, meaning the shape of the letter is integrated into the image. Research shows that using mnemonic letters like these are especially effective in helping young children learn their letter shapes and corresponding sounds. The sound picture cards on the right are simple images for each letter's sound. There are a few sound cards per letter. For example, here you see the letter A has the sound picture cards that show an apple, alligator, astronaut, ant, and then it goes into the letter B cards, right? Backpack, bat. There is also a 4-step letter learning protocol. but this is more geared towards educators and caregivers of older students who might still need help with learning letters. We may be past the point of just picking activities. We may need to have more of a protocol in place that we are using in a high dosage, high frequency sort of way. This protocol is an efficient and effective way to swiftly help older students develop their knowledge of letter names, shapes, and sounds. It's a great tool to utilize with these older students in conjunction with the Reading Ready Caregiver Guide, so that it's not just about letter names, shapes, and sounds. We're doing that and then immediately moving into word reading and spelling. We'll talk about that guide next. As a reminder, the Letter Knowledge Guide is a great resource to help support your child. If your child is ready to focus, though, on reading and spelling words and sentences, we're going to go into now the Caregiver Guide. Here we go. Okay, now you can take a moment and click on this link. And I think the bit.ly is in the chat. I know Emily and Maddie are taking care of this. Again, stay on this webinar until the end to learn how you can get your free printed copy of the guide in the mail. We will literally just mail this to you. We're able to leverage a grant that we have at the Reading Institute to ship these guides out. Great thanks to our funder for providing the service for everyone on the call. And I want to say that if you were on calls previously, if you already have the Letter Knowledge Guide, we revised it. So if you have the old version of the letter guide, this is a new one. The Caregiver Guide is the same one that we presented on in November. So that if you already have a copy of that, then you're good. But if you don't, you can hop in here. Okay, the Reading Ready Caregiver program can be used preventatively for kindergartners. It can also be used as an intervention for first or second graders who need support to meet grade level benchmarks. The Reading Ready program has an educator version there's a Reading Ready educator version. If you hear me talk about Reading Ready, I'm usually talking about that one that's used across the country where we do a lot of university tutoring programs. And it's used widely in New York City public schools through CUNY Reading Corps and other partnerships through the Reading Institute. Let's take a minute to talk about the structure of the guide. The program is organized into 10 units. You will spend 3 days on each unit. There are 4 activities per guide that should take only about 15 minutes to complete. Okay, so short little moments of activity, and we hope that you could do this for, over 30 days. So there's 30 days of activities in total. If this feels like too much, don't worry. You adjust your pacing. We built in structure to provide support, but you can adapt the guide to fit your schedule and your child's needs, so make it work for you. Just a little bit about what we mean by unit. Each of the 10 units has a specific phonics learning focus and increases in complexity over time. For example, in Unit 1, students learn the letters SATIPN, so they're learning that letter-sound relationship, and they practice reading words and spelling words using only those letters. And they wind up reading short decodable sentences that have those words with those letter combinations. By Unit 10, students learn more challenging spelling patterns like R-controlled vowels. Now that you know what we mean by units, let's dig into what you will find in each daily lesson. So if you were to do the whole lesson, like the 15-minute lesson, right? And I know as a caregiver, again, I'm a parent. So you might get to 1 or 2 of these, depends on the day, right? Each lesson has 4 components. First, you will do letter practice where you will introduce target letters and the sounds they make. There are a few different letter practice activities that you will find throughout the guide. Letter practice activities are important because they help your child connect the letters or groups of letters to their sounds, and these connections are essential for word reading, so I would not skip this part. The second component of the lesson is sound practice. This is where you will do an activity that focuses on just the sound of the target letters. So there's no words or letters that are used in this part of the activity. We remove the letters to ensure students can just segment and blend words into their sounds. Sound practice activities help your child strengthen their ability to hear and manipulate sounds and words. There are 6 sound practice skills, all of which are addressed in a variety of activities in the program. But most important for word reading are blending and segmenting. So we do a lot of blending and segmenting. Blending sounds requires a student to be able to combine separated sounds to form a whole word. For example, they hear the sounds, the child hears the sounds k, a, t, and they blend them together to say the word cat. And in the reverse for segmenting, they hear cat and then they segment it into k, a, t. Okay. This, again, both of these are critical skills for word reading and spelling. Okay, then if you would proceed in the lesson, then you would hop into word practice. This is where you will do an activity that brings together letters and the sounds they make to read and spell words. The word practice activities are really the crux of what happens in this Reading Ready Caregiver lesson. There are 6 of them throughout the guide. Each activity provides your child with an opportunity to use their new knowledge of the connection between letters and sounds to read words. We've thought as carefully as we could, and as parents ourselves, those who work on this guide, we really went back in and tried to revamp these word practice activities to make them as fun and engaging and easy to implement as possible as parents. The last part of the lesson is the reading and writing practice. This is when your child will read sentences, write words, and even read a book that contains words with the letter and sound spelling patterns that they've been learning. So nothing is new here. This is an important moment of every lesson. Your child puts it all together and they put it into practice. Okay. So here, let's take a moment to talk about decodable books. This is one of the activities you will do during reading and writing practice. So just a second on decodable books. A decodable book contains words with spelling patterns your child has already learned or is currently learning. These books let kids practice their reading skills and gain confidence at the same time. They've seen those letter combinations, they've practiced them in isolation, now they put it into context. Our Reading Ready Caregiver Guide uses free online decodable books from several publishers. Some of the books may include a few words your child can't yet read, but that's okay. Encourage them to sound those out. And again, we have combed through these books. We have aligned them to our phonics scope and sequence. There's a few words you could either give those words to your child when they come upon them, or you can do your best to work through them together. And you never know, maybe they already know those words, but there's nothing that would overwhelm them with regards to their surprise words, let's call them, or tricky words. You'll find a link or a QR code for each book in the activity direction. So in that unit, we have put in the free decodable books that you would use to support that the skills that were learned in that lesson. We recommend using a tablet if possible, but your phone will work with these books. We have figured that out. You can also find decodable books at most local libraries. If you prefer the hard copy, go for it. So you can add to the collection that way. So these are just the ones that we have that are online. Okay, to summarize, both the Reading Ready Letter Knowledge Guide and Caregiver Guide can be used to support your child with their early literacy development in the summer and throughout the year. So again, stay on until the end to get your free hard copies. And thanks so much to the Reading League New York for having the Reading Institute so we can share these resources.
Thank you all so much. I'm just going to speak for the Reading Institute briefly, unless they want to jump in, but this is the moment you've been waiting for. This is where you can scan to request your copy of whatever you might like. So it is right there for you to scan. I hope you all found this as helpful as I did as a parent too. And we have a few minutes for questions if there are any questions we can answer for you from the panelists.